Are you ready?
Yeah. DJ Vamos.
3, 2, 1. DJ Vámonos.
Music by
Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Good
morning.
And welcome back to Morning
Welcome
Ramblings, our podcastito where we spend 10 to 15 minutes talking about all things law, life, and business. I'm Alicia Wheeler, the founder of Wheeler Law, and your attorney and host. And with me is my co-host.
I'm Michael, her partner in crime, and just here along for the ride and to ask as many questions as that pop into my mind.
Woo, those are our parents!
And our daughters are sitting in the
We have
background.
our audience today.
Yes, our best audience there could be.
Yeah. So before we jump into today's episode, we want to talk about our first four. Let's do a quick recap as to what we've talked about in our previous episodes.
Yeah.
So our first episode, we talked about withholding and removal, which is a protection, a form of asylum that prevents the government from deporting an individual to their home country and only their home country. This means that they can deport you to other countries. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it because it's a very limited form of relief, and it's also something my office, we've received several grants recently, including one just Monday on September 29th. We received another family grant of withholding of removal. So it's something we're seeing very often, so it's important for our audience and listeners to understand what this application is.
Mm-hmm. And then last week on episode 2, we dove into adjustment of status, which is the process of applying for a green card based on your marriage status. So with that, you have to go through the process of USCIS, which most of the time requires an interview.
Under this administration, yes.
Okay, which now always requires an interview. And it can be very intimidating and very very serious. So we talked about the prep that goes into it and just the necessity of going in prepared and having everything
filled out correctly,
exactly.
Evidence brought in, everything like that. Yeah, so definitely if you missed those, go back and give them a listen after today's ramblings. Also, if you have been enjoying our videos, please like and subscribe so that you can get all the updates on our podcastito. Okay, so now for today's episode, our first pour, something that I've been excited to share.
Whoa. Before we talk about that,
okay,
we usually have coffee here, but
yeah,
we changed
we
it
do
up. So that was kind of a little hint at what we're going to dive into. So can you tell us what we're drinking today?
So today we're drinking, I went for juice when we went to Milk Run. Mm-hmm. This is a mango pineapple type drink. It has lots of chunks in it, so hopefully have to be careful drinking
Mine was
it.
called an Arizona Sunset, which looked pretty at the beginning, but now it all blended together.
Yeah.
It tastes good, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good from Milk Run.
Savannah has a Nutella boba,
which
and she gives a thumbs up.
Drank it all down.
So we changed it up for our drinks instead of doing coffee.
Why is mine bigger? I don't know. I don't know how that happened. Whoops.
So can you kind of go into why we changed up our drinks? We're going into a different topic for your law firm?
Yeah, so today we're focusing on something a little bit more business-wise. And as many of you may already know, Wheeler Law hasn't always just handled immigration. We've also taken family cases.
A couple criminal, too.
We have done some criminal past. Maybe in the future we'll dive back into that. But we were taking family law cases, so divorces, child custody, child support, adoptions. But I stopped taking those cases, especially at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, because we were expecting our little one, and I was going on maternity leave, and I wanted to focus on the immigration department, making sure my team and staff was prepared, especially for my leave of absence. And also, we were in the process of moving to our bigger office, so there's a lot of different things going on. So I had decided to put those cases on hold.
Which makes sense because, as you said, you had a lot going on, we had a lot going on, and it just led to a lot of long days. Family law is a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But you, from that time till now, you have an even stronger team that has kind of allowed you to open up your options again.
Yeah, so we're excited to announce that family law is back to Wheeler Law. We are now accepting family law cases. So if you or a loved one or a family member or a friend know someone who needs family law services, so if they're going through a divorce, a petition to establish paternity, so if you have a child with someone but you're not married and you want to establish, a parenting time arrangement, child support, those types of things. And we're also going to be taking adoptions.
Yay.
And these are cases that are important, and like you said, they do require a lot of attention, so we're keeping our caseload very small. So if you would like to have our team represent you and myself represent you, definitely give us a call so that way you can be one of the cases that we accept.
Yeah, and that's what makes it awesome, because since you don't have a backlog of cases that you're taking for family law, it means that you can give a little more attention to each one and make sure that you're really putting in your full effort, and that your clients are getting just the top-notch work for their case.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some other firms, like their attorneys will carry 50, 60, 70 family law cases. Yeah, and that's my thought exactly. I can't even... That's just a lot of cases and a lot of different people. And when you're dealing with family law, even with immigration, these are people's lives. These are, how often you see your kids, how much you have to pay someone for child support. These are really important things that affect your daily life, and they deserve every attention.
Yeah, just like your immigration cases, and you and your team are helping so many people. So this kind of just goes hand in hand with that of really making the best outcome for families and for children out there.
Yep. Yeah.
So how does this change kind of tie in with your immigration clients? Does it affect them much? Is it just completely different? Can you kind of go into that?
Yeah, so it allows us to provide even more services for our clients. With family law services, we can also offer powers of attorney, standby guardianship documents. So, for example, if you're concerned about potentially getting detained and you have children who are U.S. citizens or even not U.S. citizens, and you're worried about what would happen if you are detained at work or at the grocery store, this document will allow someone to take your place and be able to pick your kids up from school and things like that. So even with the power of attorney, if you, for example, were detained and you need someone to access your bank accounts, this will allow them the right to be able to do those limited things for you and make those decisions if you're detained, so that way you have access to, your bank accounts and things like that.
Gotcha. So a lot of those things that you talked about are in best case scenario events, and you really don't want to happen, but they're things that unfortunately we have to think about and be prepared for.
Yeah,
so
your plan.
It's always, for people that you care about, it's always best to do as much as you can in advance to make sure they're taken care of in the event that one of those happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We can also represent immigration clients in certain other divorce matters. It really depends on the type of case, and I know you always hear an attorney and they say, it depends. Well, it's true, even in this circumstance. So, for example, last week we talked about adjustment of status, and we specifically talked about marriage-based petitions. And so let's say I'm representing two clients in their marriage-based petition to USCIS, and they get their green card. Then their marriage doesn't work out, and they decide to divorce. Can I then represent them in their divorce proceedings?
Gotcha.
And the answer in that question is no. I'm conflicted out. Why? Because
conflict of interest. You're trying to get them approved, and it's just opens up a whole can of worms.
Right. So whose interests do I represent at that point? Because when we're doing the green card, I represent both their interests. Now, if they're going through a divorce, and let's say they have a property in both names, whose interest is it? Even if they're in agreement, it's just you can't effectively represent both interests properly when you're on opposite sides of the divorce. So that's an example of a time that we likely might not be able to help with the case.
Gotcha. Well, even though you're not always able to help, it seems like it's opening up so many opportunities, and you just listed 10 different things.
And do you want an example of one where we can help?
I would love that.
Okay, perfect.
I'm ready.
So let's say someone's in a marriage and one person doesn't have status, so it will fall into the stereotype. So let's say husband has status, wife does not.
Gotcha.
And he is, again, this isn't always the case, but the stereotype, he is beating her, not letting her see her friends, not giving her any, financial freedom, saying she has to work in the house, and he's physically abusing her, domestic violence. we could help and let's say she finally leaves, files a police report, gets away. In that case, we can apply for an application called WHAWA, which is Protection Against Deportation for Victims of Domestic Violence. And in that case, we could also help with the divorce. Okay. Because that application doesn't represent both of them. It's just wife in that instance. So in that case, we would be able to do the VAWA petition for the immigration side, and then also the divorce petition as well.
Gotcha. Well, it's a terrible scenario, but it's awesome that you guys would be here for them.
Right.
And it's amazing that that's something they can come to you for. So, so what is the call to action for people listening to this podcast? If they were looking for family law, or if they knew someone, what do you recommend to them?
Yeah, we absolutely recommend calling our office, scheduling your free consultation with my intake team so we can see if your case is the type of case that we can assist with. Mm-hmm. I also offer personal strategy sessions with a meeting for me with a fee, of course. Mm-hmm. So you can also pay for an appointment directly with me. Otherwise, it'll be my legal team unless you open up a contract. And we'll talk through your case. We'll see what the situation is. We'll talk you through what the next steps are and decide whether or not you're a good fit for our law firm and whether or not we're a good fit for you as well. Awesome. And the good thing about my legal team, again, because we're trained in various matters, is that if there's potentially an immigration matter or potential avenue for someone to obtain status, mm-hmm. We'll also analyze that as well. So you really get a well-rounded view of your potential case. Now, if you're two U.S. citizens and you just want a divorce, that's okay too. And then we'll help you with your divorce matter.
Yeah, you've helped a lot of non-immigration related family law cases as well. And just from my experience of back when you did do it, I saw how long it took and the amount of effort they had to put in, but I also saw the care and the quality of work that you guys put into it to make sure that these cases were handled properly. So. Yeah. I definitely firsthand can vouch for you and your team, and I'm
might be a little biased, but I do appreciate that.
Happy to see that you're opening up the avenue again for anyone out there that needs assistance.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about being married to an immigration attorney, and now we're opening back up family law?
I might see you working from home a little more, but at the end of the day, I'm really happy that you guys are helping out even more people out there. So. Yeah, that's the goal, and that's why I love being a partner to somebody that is really making a difference, and you and your team are doing it. So, just covering even more ground.
Yep. So we didn't touch on a current event today, but hopefully you found this informative. That's it for today's rambling. Family Law is back at Wheeler Law, and we're doing it in a way that ensures every client feels like they're a priority, and that's because they are. And we'll be back with more morning rambling. So again, like and subscribe to get all the different updates, not only about Wheeler Law, but about business. Maybe we can tie in some life later. And we'll be back next week with coffee. We'll see you then.
And tea.
Yeah.